I have to ask this way. You were in the early afternoon on a weekday.
Yeah, it was early afternoon, right? Correct. Right after lunch, yes.
And you were pulled over, and you had been drinking, and you were 2 times or 3 times over the legal.
I don't recall the exact number, but I can tell you I was well over the legal threshold. Yes.
What in the afternoon? What caused you to have had that much to drink at that time of day? What was going on with you?
Well, I can tell you this. First of all, whether and a lot of people have asked me that, whether it's a lot to drink or just a little to drink, the fact that you're behind an automobile, either way, it's bad. For me personally, I would say that what really I did is drank something or drink alcohol extremely fast as a way to feel better. Maybe relieve stress. That's the best way to say it. I mean, terribly wrong and a stupid decision on my part, but that's the best way to describe it, Chuck. There's no real aha moment. This is why this wasn't. It was something that I did as a thought of somehow dealing with stress or dealing with issues in my life, and there's just no other way to say it. That's the best way to say it, except for the fact of how poorly of a decision it was.
Senator, are you an alcoholic?
I don't know. I will tell you this though. The fact that I drove an automobile after having consumed alcohol, and it was above the legal limit, it tells me there's a problem that I need to address. Whatever the legal classification is, I don't know, but it's still a problem regardless either way. It's not certainly not black or white, but I can tell you it's a problem that if I don't try to address it, nobody else can fix it for me.
When did you notice, when did it occur to you, if it has, in fact, that you needed a drink as opposed to wanted a drink?
I think one big issue for me that came up, Chuck, was you found yourself in situations where you would be at a reception or at a party or an event, and it's not a sudden moment, but you start realizing over time that, hey, you know what? This probably isn't the right way. This probably isn't the right. Something's not right here. And so I don't think there was a one date. There's no date or time to put on it. But I think there was a realization slowly creeping in that the fact that you want this for the oddest reasons, the oddest times, is an indication that you need to get some help and do something about it.
So I'm glad you're alive and that you're here today. It's
the worst thing I've ever. It's the worst thing I've ever gone through, and it's the worst thing because one, you are forced to first of all realize the mistakes you made, the mistakes I made that day, but also two, you're forced to realize, hey, guess what? This is an issue. You got to fix this. You got to deal with it. So one, you have the humility. Two, you deal with a lot of shame because it's so shameful to realize the number of people you let down. I mean, if you didn't have that shame, then you're probably not human. That's really, 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 that was very hard. It was very emotional for me. That being said, I think it probably makes me a much better person long term. If there is any silver lining, it makes you a better person long term because you realize your breaking point. You realize what you cannot do. You also realize you're a faulty person, and you need to fix those faults and address those faults. And that's something I'm committed to doing for a long time. And that's the only way you can sit here. A lot of people want to say, you did this. You did this wrong. If you just do X, Y, Z, then everything's right. And it doesn't work that way. I mean, you have a lot of trust to regain, a lot of people that trusted you before that maybe that trust is gone. And you've got to rebuild that trust, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of how I handle myself in the future.
You've been in rehab for 2 weeks?
I've been recovering. I've been recovering for the last, working on some recovery for the last, well, since that day, I guess. Or no, the day of July 2nd, I've been working on recovery. I've visited with both some personal, and I've talked to professional folks. I've talked with both, spiritual, personal, and professional. I've talked to all three and had a chance to really continue to work on stuff. And it's not, like I said, it's not a day-to-day thing. It's more of that's going to be a long-term solution that I'm going to have to deal with.
That the stresses and pressures of the day-to-day as a as a consequential senator, those are my words, that's what you are, that may prove not to be compatible at this point, or is it too soon for you to know?
It's too soon. I enjoy doing what I'm doing now. I can tell you this. I'm looking at it, everything from going forward is a lot more short term because you can run yourself in circles looking at what's the long term impact, what do you do, what's the next. Everyone seems to get hung up, and a lot of folks who've talked to me, everyone's hung up on, well, what's going to happen in 4 years? What's going to happen in the next 4 years? I like what I'm doing. I feel like I'm making a contribution. That being said, making that contribution doesn't necessarily mean you have to drive yourself into the ground. And I think that's something that I'm going to continue working on, regardless if I'm in politics or not. I do feel like I have a contribution I can make to the political process.